Konnichiwa, desu desu. It's July 8th, Friday afternoon. It's been like about 2 weeks, I think, since my last video, so I apologise for that. But I've been really busy, and it's been really hot, and so I've been doing a lot of sleeping, a lot of studying, and a lot of working. So I've not had anything burningly inspiring me to make a video, so I managed to leave it for 2 weeks without making anything. So today I thought I'd do just a little vlog, just how I'm doing, what's going on, how Japan is, what it's like. Been here nearly 7 months now. It's in the middle of summer, so what's that like? Why have I been busy? So just a little update what I'm up to. So it's currently summer. It's early July. Supposedly June was meant to be a rainy season. Everyone talks about it being the rainy season, and all the displays in my work were all like rain themed, with like pictures of umbrellas and Wellington boots and stuff. But actually we didn't really, if you might ask me, have that much rain. There was one really intense thunderstorm which I had like last week. I was actually teaching like a mummy and me class where I had like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds with their mums. And this thunderstorm hit, and it was just like rain lashing against the window. There was like lightning and thunder right outside the building. So the kids were like going mental. They were just like, there was crying and screaming, and I mean it wasn't that bad. Most of them were okay, but that was quite entertaining. But that's like the most dramatic weather event I've had. It's been a bit drizzly, I guess, but nothing like that that I would have realised it was supposed to be rainy season if I hadn't been told. But now it's July, so I guess that's past now, and it's just really hot and really humid. So it's like you just feel really tired and lethargic all the time, and you're sweating all the time. You have to have showers every day, and you still feel like muggy after it. So it's not very pleasant, and it's only going to get worse as the weeks go on into late July. So it's been on average, it's always like plus 30 degrees. It gets up to like 35 or more, even like 38 degrees some days, which is really hot. And because it's so humid, you feel that heat. It's horrible. I mean, it's not like torture or anything. It's manageable, but that's what it's like, the climate at the moment here in Japan. So over the next few weeks, it's going to climb, I guess, to being consistently 35 plus, reaching 40 degrees sometimes. Which you just never see in England, and not on like a day-by-day basis. So I'm actually having a little trip back to England soon, shortly. This month I'm going back to England for to see everyone again and to catch up. So I'm glad that I'm going to be doing it this month. I'm going to escape the intense heat of Japan. Looking forward to going back and seeing all my family and friends and everybody. Going to be going to Cambridge Folk Festival, yay! Missing the folk scene, that's fun. Done that the last 2 years, so we're going back there again this year. So looking forward to seeing everybody. That's going to be really good fun. But it means I've been really busy organising cover reports for my classes, so the person who does my classes while I'm away can know what to do, and organising my plane flights, and organising what I'm going to do when I arrive, and trying to meet up with some friends, booking like a nice little cottage in the countryside for a couple of days, and so it's kept me busy doing all that. Buying lots of souvenirs for my friends back at home, omiyage as they call them in Japan. So that's kept me busy. The weather has kept me energy really low. I've been very tired, and also I've been studying. I'm trying to learn Kanji, which is if you've seen my other videos, I did like a hiragana series, a couple of videos on hiragana, which are really easy. That's like 40 of those to learn, and you've got it. You can learn those in a day, and then you've done it. Whereas kanji, it's like you can get a dictionary full of kanji. They're from Chinese language, and some of them are really simple, some of them are much more complicated. But you just got to remember and memorize piles of them. So there's a list of the most common kanji that you kind of need to be able to just read newspapers and stuff around in the world around you. There are more obscure kanji than that. Listing kanji is a bit like listing English vocabulary. It's just how long is a dictionary, but it depends how many words you want to put in it, doesn't it? But the 2,000 or so, slightly less than 2,000 most common kanji is the list that I'm trying to memorize. So what it means is just every day I've got an app on my phone called Anki, which helps you to remember things. It's actually Japanese for memorization, Anki. coincidentally. You can use this app to memorise anything that's like flashcard based, so you've got like 2 sides on a flashcard, like it's a virtual flashcard, so you see one side and you get to guess what's on the other, so you could memorise like the capital cities of states in America or something, like it would say like New York and then New York City or whatever, but I use it to learn kanji. So on one side I see the picture of the kanji, the symbol, and on the other side is the English translation, so I've got to try and remember both sides. So every day I'm going through this kanji flashcard app, and it automatically, the good thing about this app is that it spaces it out properly, so there's this thing called spaced repetition, where if you you first see it for the first time, you obviously you don't know it, so you look on the other side and you see what it is, and then you say, okay, I didn't know that one, and then it says a minute later it comes up again, so within 1 minute you'll see that same thing again, so you've got to try and remember it from the last time, and if you get it, then it's then 10 minutes until you see it again, so you'll see it 10 minutes later after that, and if you get it again and you've remembered it after 10 minutes, then you get to see it again the next day, and then if you get it the next day, it might be like 2, 3, 4 days until you see it again. So it's called spaced repetition. The more times you get it right, the further apart you see it, but anytime you get it wrong, it goes back to being more frequent again. So the kanji that you can't remember or that slip out your mind or whatever, it will automatically put up more often, which is you know, the best way to remember stuff. It's a really good way of, I'm basically cramming. I'm trying to do as many as I can every day because I want to learn. 2,000 kanji is a lot. I want to do it within a few months. I don't want to spend a year learning kanji. That's just, I don't want to be here 10 months from now still not knowing all these kanji. So I've given myself this goal of learning them within like 3 or 4 months, based on how many I already knew and how many I can do a day. I'm thinking I can do it within, from now, I think I've got about 2 months left until I've got through them all, if I keep to my schedule, which means learning 20 new kanji every single day, which doesn't sound like so much, but when you have to, this app keeps giving me all the old kanji that I've memorised on previous days. I'm ending up going through like 200 flashcards every day, and if you miss a day, then woe betide you, because then you've got to do all those ones the next day, so I end up with 400 to do the next day. It can get really intense. So it is difficult, but I think this is the best way to memorise them, and I can't slow the pace down because I don't want to take so long to do it, so I'm committed to it. So I've been doing like 2 hours of practice every single day, almost. I missed a day or two here. Tends to be on Fridays, like today I'm kind of busy, although today I've got a couple of classes that have been cancelled, so I've got some spare time. Hence why I'm making this video instead of doing my kanji practice. So usually on a Friday I'm busy and I don't get it done, so then I've got 400 to do on Saturday, but Saturday's a weekend and I'm tired and sleeping, and so I tend often not to get them done on Saturday either, so that means on Sunday I've got to do all that catching up, and the more days you leave it, the more intense it is to catch up again. So you just got to bite the bullet and do it. So I've been keeping up with it, so I've been getting through essentially 20 a day. So I actually know like 800, maybe more now, 850 or so kanji now, which is decent. I mean, I'm nearly halfway through the lot. And it really is helpful, it's useful. You know, I see kanji everywhere outside, and when I first started doing this, I would see kanji written on shops and signs and stuff everywhere, and I've no clue what they meant. It's just like looking at squiggly lines that don't mean anything to me. But finally, you know, I've got to the point now where I'm constantly seeing kanji that I recognise, and you've got to sort of think, and it's good practice as well, because I see it and I go, oh right, so I might be driving and I go past this kanji and I know that kanji, I've got it in my head, and while I'm driving I'm thinking about it, what's it mean, and then when I'm walking through the mall and I'm picking out kanji, I'm always looking for them now, so it's really good to keep it going in your head. And usually, if you know the kanji's translation, they group together like into compound words, where you get like 2 kanji together and the meaning of that word is derived from the 2 kanji. So you can kind of guess what the meaning of that word might be, especially with the context. If you see a sign on a window or in a restaurant or something, you can kind of guess what it probably means. And if you don't know what it means, you've got a hook, you've got a sort of vague idea of its meaning and the context, and then when you look it up on your phone and find out, then that kind of sticks in your memory better. So it's fun, I'm enjoying it, but it is intense. It's taking up a lot of my time. But I'm determined to do it within these few months. Of course I'm going back to England soon for a couple of weeks, and that's possibly going to throw it off. I don't know if I'll keep up with it while I'm there. And if I don't, if I spend like 2 weeks not studying, then when I go back to the app after coming back to Japan, I'll have forgotten like the last 100 that I learned, probably, or just gone, because they were the newest ones that I hadn't secured yet. So that could be really dangerous, so I'm going to have to try and make an effort to keep up with it. So that's what I've been doing recently. I'm enjoying living in Japan. It's good fun. The job is really fun. I'm getting to talk to lots of different kinds of people. I've definitely settled into the job. It's, I'm feeling confident with it all. I've got kind of regular classes that I teach every week, the same days, a little schedule which is very varied, keeps you on your toes, keeps you interested. I've got like kindergarten classes with little kids, like nursery school kids, where we just sing songs and like do colouring games and stuff, and I just kind of try and speak English as much as possible and so they can hear it. I've got like elementary school kids, primary school kids, from kind of younger ones like 6 or 7 years old who are really bubbly and like to play games, up to like 6th grade, which are like 11 years old, 12 years old. They're a bit more sort of grown up and sensible, depending on the class you've got. Then I've got like junior high school kids, which is not a thing in England. It's like in Japan you've got elementary school, which is like primary school, and then you've got junior high and senior high, which is like, I think in America it's like middle school and high school. So you've got like 3 years, you've got your primary school years, which is kind of same as in England, although it's actually 1 year higher. Then you've got 3 years in junior high school, and then 3 years in senior high school. So that 6 years, which is kind of similar to secondary school, comprehensive school in England, is divided into 2 different schools, which is an interesting concept. So I don't teach any senior high classes. I don't have any of those like older teenage kids that are much more committed and studying hard. I've only got junior high, which are a bit more bubbly and silly. And then I've got plenty of adult classes as well, like private classes and group classes. I've got a senior class with some older people, like retired people who just want to study English to keep their brains alert and stuff. It's really interesting getting to talk to all different kinds of people. And although I'm not speaking Japanese much in my lessons, I do a little bit, and I hear them speaking Japanese, and I get to know a bit of conversational, or like, you get to hear Japanese quite often, so I'm absorbing it slowly and a little bit. I really want to go and work in I really want to work in an elementary school, because I was a primary school teacher in England, and so I'd love to see the inside of an elementary school in Japan. And they do employ what's called ALTs, assistant language teachers. That's the major workforce of foreign people in Japan. Most people who come to Japan to teach English go to teach as ALTs, typically in junior high schools, I think. But I would like to try and work in an elementary school. So I could get a job as an ALT, that would be good. So that's possibly in the future. And I think that way, because I'd be in an elementary school, I'd see what it's like, education in Japan compared to education in England, which is part of what I'm interested in. I'd go back to England, be a teacher back in England with a bit more experience of different ways of teaching. But also, I'd be more immersed in a Japanese environment, Japanese speaking environment. The kids would be speaking Japanese and the teachers would be I'd go to the teacher's room and they'd be speaking Japanese, and I think I'd be a bit more immersed in it all. And with elementary school, as opposed to junior high school, the kids will be younger, which means they'll be speaking more basic Japanese, so maybe I'll be able to sort of pick it up as they do, because they're still learning to speak. Like in primary school in England, kids are still increasing their vocabulary, they've still got kind of very simplified English, especially at younger ages. So if I got simplified Japanese, maybe I'll be able to pick up more stuff from that. So that's an interesting idea about what I want to do in the future. Your thing's gone. So I've not had many adventures recently. Kind of burned through all the local mountains and everything in my excitement when I first got here, and now I'm knuckling down on this kanji practice. Plus I was being inspired a bit by the topics my class were doing back in England. So they were doing things like volcanoes and chocolate and I made videos about this stuff, but I've forgotten it all. Chocolate, volcanoes, space. But this time they've been doing coal mining, which, like, there's nothing in Japan about coal mining that I can think of, so I haven't done a video about that. I've not been inspired by that to do anything this term. So, given that I'm kind of trying to save money and to go back to England and studying kanji, I've not really had any big adventures recently. But on Sunday, that's in 2 days, I'm going to go on a little hike with a friend of mine who I went to Asama with my first time to a summer when it was really snowy, she's organised another little group trip to a marsh in Oze, which is up north in the mountains, kind of near Nikko, where I went before, that big lake. So around that area there's this marshland, which is a very popular destination for people to go and hike and walk around, which I've already seen before and was like thinking that would be nice to go to, but when she put on Facebook that she's organised this hike, does anyone want to come along? I was like, yeah, thanks. So on Sunday, going on a nice little adventure up there, which would be nice. So I should do some recording and videos and photos and things. Maybe I'll make a video about that. Although time is tight now with me going back to England soon. I've been trying to play some Nintendo DS games in Japanese to try and practice my Japanese. Like, for example, I got a Zelda game, Link Between Worlds, in Japanese, on my little Japanese DS. Here it is, look. I did an unboxing of this back in the day when I first got it. Japanese Pokemon themed 2DS. I got a little Charizard and Pokeball sticker on there. So I've been playing Link Between Worlds a little bit, but because I've been practicing kanji, I haven't had much spare time, and it's really slow going because it's all in Japanese. So I'm trying to trying to translate it while I'm playing, but that involves having my phone out and putting things in on my computer, and it's really slow and gets kind of boring. So I'm not making much progress on that. I just don't have time to play games really, unfortunately. I wish I did. Too busy. What else? Recently been going shopping, looking for gifts for things from people from home. My nephew's birthday was about a month ago or something that I didn't send anything, so he's only 2 years old, but I've bought him some like cute little things from Japan. So it's been fun going around the shops the last couple of weeks trying to find interesting Japanese-y themed things for people. Bought myself a couple of things. This was a couple of £100. This is a character from an anime that I watched a while back. He's called Sai. He's from Hikaru no Go, which is a Japanese anime that I really enjoyed a couple of years ago. And then I got this. Who's this? Can you tell? Little Metalcraft R2D2, which someone got me as a little gift when they went to Disneyland. Lots of people go to Disneyland from this area because Tokyo is quite nearby. It's only a couple of hours away, and so a lot of my students come back with little sweets and things from Tokyo Disney that they've brought for everyone. That's good fun. I think that's where that came from. I think that's about it really. Thanks to everyone who's watching my videos. If you can leave a comment or anything for me to read, that always keeps me entertained. And I don't know, I guess that's it. I feel like I haven't really got anything interesting that I've done recently because I've been so busy, which makes this a bit boring. Lots of rice fields are appearing. So a couple of months ago there were lots of, like in spring, there were lots of wheat fields, like just there's piles of, like, farming goes on everywhere around here. I'm driving to work, I'm just driving down a road, and then right next to the road is this big field, and then there's another one here, and then there's like houses, and then between two houses is another field with some crops growing in. They seem to be crazy about growing crops everywhere. Every little space they can find that's not got a house on it, there's like a field. So there was lots of wheat growing, and that was interesting to watch because it was all green at first, and I guess I've never really seen like crops growing up close before. So this like green plant was growing, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then it looks like wheat, but it's green. But then it all turned yellow. All of a sudden, they all turned yellow within like a few days. And then obviously that was wheat, I guess. And then that was all harvested. And on the very same field, suddenly it got all like water-logged. Like they've all just got piles of like water in them. And I was like, that's interesting. They've turned these wheat fields into these just muddy, watery fields, and that's how you grow rice apparently, because rice plant can grow underwater to begin with. It can grow under the water, whereas most other plants can't. So it's a good way of keeping the weeds out of your rice field by just waterlogging it. So these little green shoots appear out of the water at like regular intervals, like a grid of these little green shoots, and they're getting bigger and bigger now. So I've been trying to take a little bit of video of those. I'm going to do some sort of kind of time lapse or something of like rice growing, Apparently it takes a few months. It's going to be harvested after summer's over, but maybe in August or something. So every week I've been going to one of the rice fields nearby and doing a little bit of video photos to try and compile a time lapse. We'll see if that goes well. Although while I'm in England I'm going to miss that. Also, with it being summer and hot and everything, apparently it's like bug season in Japan, so all the shops are selling like bug collection stuff. You can get like nets and little pots and things and little logs and little pots of like jelly type stuff, which apparently beetles like to eat, and so there's all pictures of different species of beetle that you can try and attract and go and find. So I've seen a few little weird bugs around, trying to get those on film as well, trying to put together a bug video maybe in the future. I haven't got much footage yet, but we'll see. But apparently it's kind of a hobby for kids in Japan to collect bugs and beetles, for certain kids anyway. Which I knew was the inspiration for Pokemon in the first place. The guy who invented Pokemon, I don't know what his name is actually. He's a hobby as a kid was bug collecting, and so Pokemon's kind of based on that, collecting these strange little animals, collecting them all. So it's interesting to see that in practice for reality. It's actually a thing. I didn't realise it was still a hobby that kids have. Okay, I'm going to sign out now. I've got to go and grab something to eat and then go back to work again. If you've got any questions, anything you want to know about Japan or want to see a video on, just let me know. Anything you're curious about, what's going on, what I'm doing, my job or life here, or anything you can think of for the future videos, just let me know. Always nice to hear from everybody. Can be a bit lonely on my own, boo. So every comment's always fun to read. Okay, sayonara.